Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I apologize again for another delay, but I had a huge epiphany this morning that I want to share with you. It is, what I'm sharing today is a little scripted and it is going to be longer, but I just had this amazing realization that feels important for me to share. So I'm going to share it with you. The last year, as everyone knows, actually a year and a half, my physical challenges actually started shortly after I moved in November. But it's been a challenge, right? I've been through, I have a heart condition that I haven't talked about a lot. I haven't shared much about that because I got diagnosed with cancer and that took center stage, but I still had this horrible fatigue, had gained a bunch of weight. I was just really struggling. And then I went through cancer and sepsis and radiation and surgeries and problems with surgeries and COVID. And my dad, he's had a rough year like me. He has dementia. He's just now going into long-term care, but the last year has been broken hips and infections or broken leg. He didn't break his hip, he broke his upper thigh bone and his foot. Now it's just been a lot of interferences. I talked about that a little bit, is about realizing that the disruptions in life are what's hard. It wasn't cancer. Getting cancer out of my body was good, but the disruptions were hard. And I remember saying to myself, oh yeah, 2021 will be better after COVID and having to go back to work because of my business and no longer being able to meet. And then everything that happened with that at the end of 2020, I was like, 2021 will be better. And then 2021 was all of the things I just mentioned. And at the end of 2021, I said 2022 will be better. And it's really funny because every year is better. Every year is better by far of my life with the work I do, but not in the way I thought. And that's what I want to talk about today. There is this idea of Armageddon or end days, or, that's in a lot of spiritual philosophies. And I think that sometimes we think either transformation, growth, or struggles will happen just instantaneously. Like there will be this sudden moment where we don't have this issue anymore, or there'll be this sudden moment when Armageddon happens. And I think the thing is that all of those things, whether you call them prophecies or warnings, warnings from science or prophetic visions of messages of this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. If we don't handle climate change, this is what's going to happen. If we don't make this growth, this is what's going to happen, which is what I think happened when discussions of Armageddon came up. If we don't transform as a species, this is what's going to happen. And the ironic thing for me is that the mistake is in thinking change happens all at once. Change does not happen all at once. It's gradual. We get in this moment where we think things will never change, or when this one thing changes, everything will transform around it. And that's not how it happens. We're in the middle of all of those things that we feared, and we're still thinking there's going to be this cataclysmic moment where it looks like the world's exploding. But it's happening right now with everything we're going through. We are a species that is in a state of suffering because we're in a state of transformation. I took a picture and was going to post an article. The picture that's on this video, I took that picture weeks ago, and I was going to post an article, and I just like to read what I was going to post to you. I'm not going to post it as an article. I'm just going to read it in this video. It's about recognizing our new normal, and I apologize, it's scripted. I'm going to look away from the screen to read it because I was just really inspired to write this one day. And I want to drive home a point with it that is really vital to me. So I apologize. You see me looking away, setting up the screen so that I can read it. I remember when it was crystals, dream catchers, or even CDs. Now I see masks hanging from so many rearview mirrors. This became my new normal without me even thinking about it. I feel bad about that. I should think about COVID more. So many lives have been lost, and some of us have long-term issues with our hearts or lungs or a series of other side effects. There was a time when I was waiting for it to end, for us to beat this thing. But I don't think I started to find peace until I accepted that along with earthquakes, hurricanes, and many other issues we are facing, viruses are part of our new normal, and we cannot change what we have lost. Still, we can have some impact on what we will not lose in the future. For this reason, I wear my mask, and I will likely wear it in one way or another for decades to come. I will wear it for whatever unknown thing might be lurking around the next corner, or for the cold and flu seasons that also take lives. I will not live afraid, but I will live conscious and willing to protect those around me. I will also always have a mask hanging from my rearview mirror so that others know I support it. I originally wanted to post that article about this experience we're having with COVID and how important it is to adjust and to let masks be part of our new normal. But what I really want to talk about today is about this idea to stop waiting for things to be better. Instead, we need to start working on being stronger. The world is going through a cataclysmic change, and we are part of that. And I'm not going to lie. I know change is hard. It is impossible to train our brains to be conscious and to be in this moment in a different way. Advancing brain function is a difficult thing. Even though, like in my practices, we do it for only 20 minutes a day, those 20 minutes are difficult, and they need to be. It's vital that they are difficult because it's what advances the brain function. So the important thing to know here is that life, it's difficult to train the brain, but life is more difficult if we don't. Without that change, life is suffering. Living in primal brain function is excruciating. Fight or flight mechanisms no longer work. I say it over and over again. Safety and familiarity will never work again. Not with 8 billion people on the planet. It would barely work with 1 billion people. We have 8 billion people. We cannot keep things the same. Safety and adaptability is the only way to find steady ground. In addition, planning from the past or for the future will never work again. Things are going to be in constant flux. So being in the moment is the only way to feel peace in an otherwise chaotic world. Transforming our neurochemistry is the only way to do this. I want to stress that. We cannot change what's happening in the world. We're on a trajectory of transformation, and it is a brutal one. But we can't change that. The only way to transform what we're going through is to transform the chemistry in our brains that is driving the suffering. So, I used to wish I lived in a different time. I used to live, but I didn't want to live in the past. I never wanted to live in the past. I wanted to live in the future where peace was finally gained. That my whole life, I think I've always dreamed of being able to live into the future. That's really what the drive for immortality is I want to experience that future where where we have peace and people are kind and without pain, where we're all fully conscious. But the thing I realized this morning is that I'm grateful to live in this time, this right now, possibly one of the most difficult times in our journey, the time when the brains, where we have to transform our brains and develop programming that will work in the environment we're in, right? Where we have these bodies where our neurochemistry was adopted from a function that no longer works in our environment. So we're part of an evolutionary process. We're conscious to it. This is the massive part. Is things constantly change. Nature adapts to whatever thing happens next. But usually we're not conscious to that adaptation. And we're in this excruciating process of consciously being part of that adaptation. So I'm grateful to be in a time when our brains need to develop from a programming that no longer works to function that will work in the environment we're experiencing. So instead of trying to change the environment, we can focus on changing the function. The fact that we have the ability to do that and participate in that, I think is amazing. I'm most grateful I'm very grateful for understanding that it's neurochemistry that causes suffering. I was a person that experienced a great deal of suffering, so I'm so glad to live at peace, to have experienced the last 2 years centered and grounded and enjoy most of the time while still compassionate to the suffering that is being experienced in the world. More than that, I'm grateful that I know how to change that chemistry. I know how to help others change that chemistry. I get to be part of making it better. And for that, I want to live in this time, this very difficult time, this very scary, often overwhelming time, because I can make a difference here. This is my time to help others make that transformation beyond that state of suffering. So what I want to share today is that my realization was that I'm grateful and that this is the new normal. What's happening right now is the new normal. And that can be terrifying and feel overwhelming to let go of the hope that it's going to miraculously change and not be this way anymore. However, it can also be from this place, I can stop thinking the world will be different and I can change my experience in it. I can stop waiting for it to change and I can say, okay, it is what it is, and I can be at peace in it. I do want to share with everyone out there, everyone that sees this, the Relief of Suffering, the brain chemistry video. With the class, there's a free class on my website, that video, just that single thing is transformative if you apply the work. You do have to do the 20 minutes a day, but just that will help. It's that first step. Again, I want to stop here for a second and apologize if the YouTube video, if the sound's off. My YouTube monetized, so there's an ad at the beginning now, and it's set the sound off. I'm getting that fixed, but it's in a long list of things I need to do. So I'm working on it, and I apologize it's imperfect, but it's almost perfect that it's imperfect because it's a representation of the time. But the thing we need to do is start transforming the neurochemistry. Not trying to transform the world, not trying to transform. We're not trying to fight the brain being primal. We're trying to evolve it into no longer being primal. And we have to do that with subconscious functions. We can't do that consciously. So I do invite everyone out there to just watch that brain chemistry video. It's the one with the big green circle, or take the Relief of Suffering class on the InspiredEvolutionProject.com. But even if you don't, be willing to transform. Be willing to go out today and do something that is difficult for you to do. Do something you don't do well. Be a beginner. For me today, you see me, I'm in my workout clothes. I'm going to go do a workout that's far beyond my capability, and it's intimidating and it's hard, and there's that old primal part of my brain that wants to fight it, but it's where my weakness is. My body is weak after everything it's been through, and it's hard to be weak because I've been a strong person for so long. And so this is my thing to face. This is my thing to stand up in. Tomorrow, I will be stronger for what I do today. So I know I can do this. I know you can do it. I know we can all do it. Let's not make the world what we think it should be. Let's make the world what it was meant to be, not by fixing the results of the outdated primal mechanisms that are causing our problems, but by changing how we interact with this, how we interact with it. Let's be willing to transform to meet the challenge. And that will inherently make the world a better place and our experience more joyful in it. So I just want to thank you for taking the time today. I appreciate the opportunity to share my journey with you, and I look forward to meeting you along the way.